Okay, hello everybody. I'm Adalora. Welcome back to the Torn Tapestry podcast. It has been a while since I posted on the podcast. I'm really sorry for that. I just got back from a trip to Hawaii. I was there for almost half a month. And just a lot of stuff got into the way. I'm back now, and welcome to episode 3 of the Torn Tapestry podcast. So, as you saw from the title, this podcast is based on the anxieties and worries about traveling. It's very scary to travel when you're chronically sick. And I don't know if you guys saw the other video, but I was telling people that I just got off of really scary, bad medication that I took for my endometriosis. And it was called Orilissa, and it was really, really bad for my body. I had a really bad reaction to it, and it gave me really serious GERD. So it took a while for me to start feeling better. I'm good now. I don't have GERD as serious anymore. But I would like to go into the fears and the anxieties of traveling when you do not feel well with your health. So normally, when you're traveling and you're chronically sick, the biggest worry that I find for most and for myself is, how am I going to go on the plane with chronic pain? How am I going to get to my hotel or get my car, then go to the hotel? And how am I going to feel from the weather, or feel from the food, or feel from the pressure change? You know, those are questions that lots of people fear when they're going to travel, especially when they don't want to, but they kind of have to. In my situation, I didn't really want to travel when I was having that really serious reaction with Orilissa, because I didn't know when my gut would settle. And let me tell you, I'm very lucky that it kind of settled, but it kind of didn't. But I'll go right into that. So by the time before I went to Hawaii, my body was kind of settling down. I was taking Bentyl and I was taking my antacid pills to help with the chronic GERD that I was experiencing. And I was extremely stressed because I only had, 3 weeks until I left for Hawaii, and I didn't know what to do. And I was just having a massive panic attack because, again, I'm a woman. I have endometriosis. I have all of these other issues, and pressure change and just change in general is fucking horrendous. Okay, it's scary traveling. You just don't know how, as a woman, your body's going to react. You don't even know mentally how you're going to feel. So, yeah, basically I just kept on taking the same medications to help with the pain that I was in. Luckily, by the time that I was about to go to Hawaii, which was like a week before, I was feeling better. I'm very lucky. But just because I felt better didn't mean like, oh, I had a wonderful experience, because it was still brutal. So, we got to the airport, and that took a bit, and we had to sit down for a while because our plane literally didn't board for another 6 hours. We got there really early. So my advice, if you're handling GERD or endometriosis, if you're handling any other medical problem, the best is just to tell yourself, you got there to the airport, now let's do it one by one. Because I find when you start freaking yourself out, okay, I got to the airport, now what do? I don't know how to feel, oh my gosh, you just start stressing yourself out more. And everyone has said that stress does make your symptoms worse, okay? So I went to the airport, and I was fine and happy and grounded to the point that I was there. But on top of it, I knew what was going to trigger more pain. I knew with my stomach and my GERD being completely out of control, walking would trigger more pain. So I got myself a wheelchair, and the wheelchair worked. It prevented me from walking a ton in the airport. So I finally get to the plane, and I was already told prior, because I have lymphedema in my knees, okay, you need to wear compressions on the plane. Never doing that again. The compressions were just fucking horrendous to wear. And I got on the plane, and then I finally got to Hawaii, right? Hawaii was like an 8-hour plane ride. And you're probably wondering, well, what did you do? How did you even get through your GERD? How did you get through your endo? How did you get through all this other pain stuff on an 8-hour flight? Well, for me, I just ate a lot of food. Like, I made sure I ate Rice Krispie squares. I knew that the foods that help calm down some acid was the ones that I would take on the plane. So, which was, for me, some of it was like very bland popcorn that I tried, and it worked. Sandwiches are perfect. And then obviously no teas. For me, when I drink peppermint tea, it worsens my GERD. Any type of teas are just bad. I would not. If you're experiencing GERD or you're experiencing anything with your stomach, don't. Now I'm not speaking for everybody who has stomach issues that this isn't a good thing to do. I mean, teas can help some, but for me, it literally makes my symptoms worse. So I have literally cut out tea. I don't have tea anymore. If I have anything, it's just plain water. So the next check on the list is, again, get the right foods that you know help stabilize your stomach. Your stomach is the second brain. If you're able to stabilize your stomach, you'll be able to stabilize your anxiety, okay? So yes, it is a pain in the ass to travel with endometriosis. And it is a pain in the ass to travel with acid reflux, GERD, and all of those things. But I did it. And I got there to Hawaii, and immediately, my symptoms actually got better. So, I went from having to take Bentanol after having that terrible reaction from the endomeds almost every day after that, and painkillers every day after that. My painkillers that I would take was like Bentanol, and then on top of Bentanol, I would take Pantaloc. Those were kind of the best things I could take for pain meds. Advil, Tylenol did fucking nothing. Okay. So I was taking that almost every day. Sometimes I had to take the Bentanol for the horrible spasms in my esophagus twice or 3 times if it was really bad. But I was extremely lucky. By the time that I literally got to Hawaii, I actually didn't take any pain meds, which is crazy. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I did take a Pantaloc to get to the airport because my stomach acid was just crazy that day. But it worked. It helped. So yeah, I'm sorry that I'm all over the place. I don't have a script. I like to be as genuine as possible and authentic as possible. So I'm sorry that I don't have a script, and I'm sorry if this is all over the place. I think it helps too when you're traveling, you know, when you're having issues with your endometriosis, if you're having issues with any chronic pain, it's good to not travel alone. Because if I was traveling alone, it's just more stressful. Now, I don't know if everyone has the opportunity to, you know, travel with somebody. But if you do, it's very helpful and beneficial, because I know as a woman who has chronic pain, I would not travel by myself. Even if I had days where I did feel okay, it's still good to have someone beside you. And that doesn't mean that you're weird. It's just good to have more support, because, you know, there could be times where I'm having so much pain, I can almost feel like I'm going to faint. And it's really good to just have someone there. So that also does help with anxiety and travel. Yeah, but with the first week in Hawaii, I actually felt really good. Again, we were there for 3 weeks. The only downside of my chronic pain and my health was my lymphedema. Because I was telling people, and I was telling everyone in the other episode, that the Orilissa medication I was taking actually made my lymphedema even worse. It made me, it made my legs so swollen. Luckily, they're not swollen anymore. I got them to a really good place with a lot of compression, and I just been taking really good care of myself. So yeah, lymphedema, my legs weren't great for that, but other than that, I did a lot of walking. Even though if I had really bad pelvic pain with my endo, I still pushed myself. To be very honest, I'm very lucky that my family and I traveled to Hawaii, because I know with the hot weather and the humidity and everything, like it's good for your body. My hair grew. Like, it's just in general a really great place to travel to. If you're traveling to New York or colder places, it might be a little bit harder. But I found with my lymphedema that when I got home and I was in a colder climate, it's just easier. So Yeah, but yeah, so it was very stressful traveling there, obviously, and I don't know if lots of people have stress with traveling with chronic diseases. It's hard. It really is, because if I had it my way, I don't think I would have gone. But I'm glad I did, because I went from last year of doing a lot of nothing. I literally laid in my bed and was dying from so much pain that I was in. And finally, this is the first year where I'm able to actually do things with my life. I have so many amazing updates to give to you guys. I've come very far with my health journey, and I'm really hoping that this video somehow helps people out there that they can travel. Stop thinking that you can't live your life anymore because of chronic diseases and health. Like, you deserve to go out there and live your life just as much as a healthy person, okay? And it's really hard because you start comparing yourself, like, oh, well, this person doesn't have this pain, and this person gets to travel there, and this person gets to do that. And it's like, it can be so fucking overwhelming, where you just don't feel like you can do shit because you're sick. And I get that more than I would like to. But I would like to prove and show to people that I'm a woman who deals with chronic pain almost every single day. And I still try to live kind of a normal life with what I do have. And what I do have isn't a lot, but it's a lot better than it was last year. Because again, just to give you guys a visual, I went from being in bed every single day in pain, not knowing where life was going to take me, to finally knowing where I'm going with life now, which is great, I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, no matter what happens in your life and something is taking you down, you still deserve those happiness, little bits of windows where you do feel good, and you should celebrate those wins, okay? So yeah, it was a really good time. I did have a few issues with my pain. My endometriosis was a lot better there in Hawaii. And I think it's, again, I sound like I'm repetitive, but I think your brain doesn't comprehend how good it is to get out of your room. And I decided to test my body because, I thought about it more. I just didn't want to go on this vacation because I knew, like, oh my gosh, like, my disease is not going to be happy. But honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm either going to be in Hawaii in pain or I'm going to be at home in pain, and I'd rather be in a paradise place. So if you have that mentality of, well, I'm not going to travel because it's going to make things worse, honestly, just leaving your room and going somewhere that has a whole different view of things is actually really good for your body as well, because it takes your mind off of it, right? And that's definitely what happened, was just seeing a whole different landscape that isn't my bedroom. It's very healing. So, all right, perfect. So traveling is a good experience because it could kind of help your chronic illness. I don't know, to be very honest, because I'm just telling you from my perspective that traveling is hard, yes. But it might be a case for some of you who are watching where you're literally going to tell me, Adelaide, I can't travel. I can't get out of my house because the pain is just too much. I understand. I know. And I'm really sorry to those who feel like they genuinely cannot get out of their house. That's horrible. Hawaii was a good experience, but it was a good experience that turned into a very dangerous one. There was a massive storm, and they call it a Kona storm. We were told in the forecast that we were only going to get a little bit of rain. That was a complete lie. Now, I'm going to give you guys this story time because I think it will help some people out there that when you're traveling, things still might not always go perfect the way that you hope it does, right? Because, that's life. Life doesn't always work the way you hope. But we got something called a massive Kona storm. And from the people that live in Hawaii, they were saying, oh, it's a storm that happens all the time. Like, we get it once a blue moon here and there. Yeah, this was, like, really serious. I lived in this loft. I had a whole room to myself that I shared with my family, but it was an upstairs loft, and my family had their own bedroom. And when you open up the door to my loft and you go outside to the balcony, there's this really beautiful statue of a monk. The monk is really cool, but I found it to be kind of creepy at nighttime. So I would close the blinds. And then all of a sudden, when I was trying to go to bed that night, I heard weird whistling. And I thought that it was neighbors next by. Because the place that we stayed at, you know, it's very thin walls. You hear everything, right? So I was thinking, okay, maybe it's someone just whistling to music or whatever the case was. And I tried to fall asleep. And no, actually, it was my window shaking from real serious wind. It was 70 miles per hour wind, or a little bit more than that. And all of a sudden, it was just pouring out. It was crazy. I've never heard rain like that in my life. And I was thinking, you know what, it is just a storm. We were told that until the storm wind was so serious. It started shaking my loft and it started shaking my bed. I'm someone who has really, really bad anxiety, okay? And that night, I was having a little bit of issues with my endometriosis. I wasn't feeling well with my pelvic pain. I brought a heating pad with me on the plane and I plugged it into the wall just to put it against my pelvis, and I was in so much pain, and this was happening and I was really, really, really scared. The wind and the weather change definitely made my stomach, my GERD, worse. And it just made my whole body go into orbit. I'm not saying this to scare anyone. It's just if you plan to go to Hawaii and this happens to you, a Kona storm, it's not good. It, of course, is going to trigger your body. And that's exactly what it did, right? This was all happening 4 days before we were getting ready to go home, right? And the wind got even worse through the night, where our entire fucking... the entire room just shook. And I'm Canadian. I'm a Canadian person, and lots of people unfortunately lost their homes. This storm wasn't even just a storm. It was like really serious. The locals were even saying, "Oh, we haven't seen things like this in a very long time. This is actually worse than we ever thought." So it poured for the next 3 days. On the third day, like the day that we were getting ready to leave, we took our rental car to the airport to get ready to go home. And it was really dangerous driving in that weather. The rain was so heavy, we could barely see the road in front of us. Everything was just fucking flooding. And I was really scared. And of course, that's a day that my stomach wanted to flare. So I was in a lot of pain. I was nauseous and having so much acid reflux. But I just wanted to get to the airport safe. And I started just praying. I was like, Lord, just please get our family there safe. We just want to go home. We finally get to the airport and we have to take something called a tram, which is like a little train to the airport. And it wasn't working. We waited at the tram for it to pick us up for like an hour and more. And let me tell you, the rain was coming into the airport. It was bad. It was so windy. It was just so bad. And I thought to myself, how in the world are planes even going to fly in this? Because the wind was pushing me around. Now I'm a tiny girl, but it was just pushing every person around. It was really scary. I've never seen wind like that. Okay? It was really scary. And anyways, people were saying, oh, like the tram isn't working. So we had to catch our flight, which was in like an hour or so or two. And my dad's like, just fuck it. Like, let's just walk. It was like a 3-4 minute walk towards where we needed to go to the airport, right? But it was outside. You had to walk. I have 2 of my suitcases with me. I'm having chronic GERD. My pelvis is just on fire. I'm in so much pain. But I'm like, okay, like, I just want to fucking get to the airport and get to our seat and sit down and wait to get onto the airplane. So I'm taking my stuff, and at this time I'm wearing like these really cute, they're like really cute Uggs, and I got them for my birthday last year. Totally ruined. We were walking in water that went all the way up, I'm not exaggerating, to my knee. And my legs We're drenched. I was wearing a hoodie and jeans and those. Drenched. My hair was drenched. And everything in my bag got drenched. And at this point, I'm just feeling really emotional and annoyed because I was scared and we're going through something so fucking crazy. And I finally get to where we're supposed to be and we're lining up behind some people, behind this blonde girl and her family. And I'm just drenched. And I think the tram must have worked for some people because we were looking around and no one else got drenched. So of course, like, since I got very stressed out, I'm cold. My GERD is just terrible, right? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is shit happens, right? Even if you're trying to go on a vacation, sometimes things just don't work the way you hope, right? And that's the same thing even if you're at home, right? Maybe you're having a good day with your pain and then all of a sudden pain just comes out of nowhere and you start having a really, really bad day that you thought was going to be a good day, right? Life is unpredictable, but it's how you deal with it, right? And we finally get to where we need to board, right? And we're all being told that our plane is here and we're good and we're going to go back to Canada. That's where I'm from. Which is great, right? It was a very intense day. It's very scary, but it's also super dangerously windy out there. But I was told that planes can fly in that, so therefore we should be fine, right? I stand corrected. We get told on the intercom that our flight to Canada, I won't say exactly where I'm from, just to keep privacy, is cancelled. Why is it cancelled? We were told that the plane is here. They said, well, the plane is here, just the crew isn't. They're stuck on the other side of the island because there's so much flooding. So you're going to have to find a way to either stay here or go back to a hotel wherever you came from. Okay, I'm having like chronic GERD, chronic pain. There's nothing I can really take for my endometriosis because I was having a habit there, which is bad. I was taking a lot of leave. Okay, that was the only thing that was kind of helping. I would take a leave and then an Advil with it. I know you shouldn't be doing that. But, you know, I wanted to find a way to help with the pain, right? You start getting desperate when you're in so much pain, right? And then my endo doctor's like, don't do that. Like, stop taking that. Take Tylenol. I'm like, okay. So I've been trying to take Tylenol 3s when I'm getting really bad endo, but even I don't take that because I just deal with the pain, which isn't great. It doesn't make me tough, but I just deal with whatever. So anyways, I'm calling my boyfriend and I'm letting him know, hey, this is what's going on. And he's like, that's not good. So, you know, I'm telling him I'm in so much pain. This is what's going on. And he was extremely supportive. And I'm very lucky that he was there for me. And we're trying to come up with this game plan. And there's this nice lady and a husband, and they come up to us. They're like, we're also on the same flight as you, and we just heard that it got canceled. We should all work together to get back to our hotel. Our hotel is blank blank. I said, we're from that hotel too. This is embarrassing, but it's fine, guys. I'm going to open up about this. I also have another disease called vestibular migraine, and it's migraines that I get, and they cause what it looks like seizures. Okay, I call them seizures, but they're not. They're just extreme tremors. And what they do is they twist my stomach with the migraines and I start having really bad pain and I start shaking uncontrollably. And that's exactly what happened, and my mom and dad had to help me walk. And it took 3 hours for us to get a cab, right? Like, it was a whole shit show. And somehow, in the grace of God, God bless, he got us home. We got to our hotel because my mom paid for an extra night, right? And we get there and oh my word, like everywhere is just flooded. Even my parents' bedroom, like the rug was flooded. Like everything was bad, but at the end of the day, it just didn't matter to us because we just needed somewhere to stay. And on top of that, my mom isn't feeling well. She gets randomly pneumonia out of the blue. Like, when things go to shit, and it always happens to my family. Things always have to happen at the worst time. But it's how you deal with it, right? So anyways, I sleep until like 10 a.m. and then we have to get up early because they weren't letting us stay for extra 4 hours, which was kind of dumb. And we finally get back to the airport that day, and we're still not sure if our flight crew is there. Our plane is there, but we weren't sure about what was going to happen. On top of that, my mom is barely breathing, and she's having a lot of crazy spasms with her, I don't know if it was her stomach, but it was underneath her rib. So at the time, we weren't too sure if it was pneumonia that my mom had, but I just knew she wasn't fucking breathing properly and she was having spasms. So I tried Googling as much as I could, and I made her as comfortable as possible. There was also a seat situation where they fucked up our seating, and this very sweet lady who had 2 boys her husband gave up the seat so my mom and I could sit with each other, because I was having a whole thing with my body. I was having those tremors. I was having so much pain, and I said, thank you so much. She's like, no, like, you're good. Like, you're good. You have to be with your mom. You're not feeling good. Just a little bit of empathy just really helped the experience of getting home as well, from a great vacation to a not so great experience, right? So finally we're boarding the plane, and I'm so excited about it. And my poor mother, she's literally having these spasms that's waking her up out of her sleep. And every single time I'm trying to like relax her, and she's hunched over and she's nauseous and she's not feeling well. It broke my heart. I of course, it's one thing myself dealing with chronic issues, but then when you see your mom, or if you see your family, or even your partner suffer, or your friends, it's not something I would wish on anybody. But she was a trooper, and we got through it, and we went to Vancouver, and we were told by the flight people, no problem, you guys just stay on the plane while we gas up. Yeah, that didn't happen. They made us get off the fucking plane and go through the airport and go through customs and everything again, and security. And mind you, they gave us like a duration of a fucking hour before we go back onto another airplane to go back home. So I'm in so much pain, and luckily the flight people got me a wheelchair, so my family helped wheel me around. And no one tells us where to go. We're completely lost. My mom is barely getting through anything. She's not doing well. Everything's just fucking hectic. Horrible. We finally get into this lineup, and I see the same blonde lady that I was behind when we got through getting drenched by the rain. I saw her, and she was in the lineup, and I was very confused. It was like a 4-hour lineup, and we only had a duration of an hour to get back onto our other flight. It was horrible. The communication skills were shit. And somehow we did find a way to get through customs. They got me through customs quick because I was in a wheelchair, and they knew that I was having issues, right? Because I was just seizing. My arms were seizing. I was not well. So I got through customs really quick. And then we finally get to our gate, and they're like, oh yeah, we were actually just boarding 30 minutes ago. Okay. But they're like, but don't worry, we made it an extra hour because we just realized that it's kind of impossible to be done all of that in an hour. I'm like, okay. Anyways, I get onto the plane and I board with my mom, and we're in the same seats. And then we finally get home, which is great, right? It was just such a shit show though. It was so stressful. We get home, and at this point, my mom is not well, and I told her, you need to go to the fucking hospital. Okay. It was bad. It was really bad. And this is just the day after we get home. And we take my mom to the hospital, and 16 hours later, my dad, he's like, I'm just going to drop your mother off at the hospital. She can just wait there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait there with her. So I waited 16 hours with her at the hospital. And of course, we waited 16 hours for them to just tell us that she literally has pneumonia, right? But it was so stressful. It was a very stressful ending of a trip. Yeah, it was a lot. And my family were like, we're not going to travel for a while. I'm like, well, that's silly. I mean, stuff like this doesn't happen very often. It's kind of rare. But we made it through, guys. And I'm still here today. So I wanted to tell you this because even though you go through chronic pain, you can do anything your mind tells you, okay? You can get through a wedding. Maybe you're invited to a wedding and you have to show up and you're in fucking chronic pain. Maybe you have to go on a trip like I did. Or maybe go to a conference, or maybe your friend's house. Because remember, I was telling you guys the story in the last episode that I went to my friend's house while I was having really serious GERD, right? And then 3 hours later, I was literally... Yeah, I went to the emergency because I thought I was having a heart attack. And they're like, no, it's just GERD. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is don't let chronic pain stop you from living a little. You deserve to live a little. All right? Don't be so hard on yourself. And you know what? Be graceful to yourself. If you have days where you just have to tell your buddy or your friend or whomever, hey, listen, I'm not well. I need to stay home today. Don't feel bad because I know what it feels like to be in that position. You don't know how many people I had to say no to. I can't do that. Sorry, no. Choose yourself. Always choose yourself. Don't please others. Because I will stand on this hill and I will die on this hill. I'm so grateful I went to see my best friends, okay, when I was having that real serious GERD issue. But seeing them made me feel worse because I ended up in the hospital, right? I should have listened to my body. I should have just told them I can't. But I miss them and I haven't seen them for a very long time, right? But what I'm trying to say is just choose yourself, right? And it is scary because it's like, well, what happens if I go there and I have an attack? Or what if I go there and people don't understand that I'm in pain and I'm too afraid to tell them I'm in pain, or I'm too afraid because I want to leave early. Guys, just do the best you can, okay? You're the one who knows your body the best and the most. Just do whatever you feel comfortable with. If you go out to see friends or whatever and you can only do 30 minutes, dude, that's amazing. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself at the fact that you literally went out and you did something that your body usually doesn't want you to do. Right? It's hard. It's very hard. I've missed out on a ton of gigs. Okay, I haven't had any gigs for 2 years. And it's been really tough because I'm a musician and I've only put out 3 songs on my Spotify, but I'm grinding. I've been writing some more music. I'm currently writing a book, which is incredible. And my boyfriend from Scotland is visiting me for a while. And I'm going to be visiting him. I'm going to be going to Scotland for a bit too. I'm very excited. I'm in a place right now where I'm so blessed. I actually wanted to tell you guys some good news. I'm getting surgery in a few weeks. I'm getting life-changing endo surgery. I'm getting my cyst removed and I'm getting endo removed. And then I'm getting a colonoscopy in a few weeks after that because my endometriosis has caused me to have rectal problems. I'm not uncomfortable saying that to you. It's nothing embarrassing. It's just, this is what the disease does. So yeah, I have a lot of health issues too with that area, but I just feel like I've come from such a dark place to a place where I can feel the clouds lifting. You know, like I was telling you guys, last year was the hardest year of my life. I was at a place in my life where I was not wanting to be here anymore. I went through so much. I can't go into a lot of it, but just to have the opportunity to maybe have a second chance at life is something that I don't think I can fully comprehend. You know, I'm told that the endo surgery is supposed to be very helpful and beneficial. Even for my lymphedema, there's speculation that the cyst in my ovaries could be fumbling up my lymphatic system. That's why I'm having really bad swelling. And if it's removed, right, it's not compromised anymore. I'm just so happy because I have been suffering not just for a couple years, but for many years since I was the age of 16, you know? I came from a year of last year where I didn't think this would be possible. I didn't think I could find love again. I didn't think that I could travel again, but I am. And I'm just so grateful. And actually, I know Easter just passed, but Jesus has been the best thing in my life, helping me get through where I am today. This podcast channel is to help not just women, but men too, there's lots of men that suffer with health issues and even mental health issues, and it's not talked about enough. And I'm trying to open up my channel for many genders to speak their truth, to speak what they need to speak, because we live in this place where it's like being silenced is just better. It doesn't cause as much issues and drama. It's like, speak your fucking mind. Speak your mind. Don't let anyone silence you. Speak your mind. Speak your truth. That doesn't go out just to me, but it goes out to every single person. I really hope that my podcast has helped some women out there to be careful of medications, because medications out there sometimes can cause real serious problems. You just need to be careful because your body is a temple, babe. You don't know what you're putting in your body, even with the fast food or, I forgot to mention, I'm really sorry guys, I'm all over the place, but I went on a bland diet for a few months. Yeah, I went on a bland diet. And I did not go out once when I was in Hawaii to go and eat anything, because my GERD was just very unstable and I didn't know if eating something could trigger it, right? But I'm back to eating kind of normal foods. I'm still struggling with being bloated after every freaking thing I eat, even if I drink water I'm bloated. But the endometriosis surgery should be very helpful with my weight and should be helping me with my stomach and should be helping me with my knees. So all positive stuff for sure. I am really nervous for surgery, right? I'm going to be put under for it. I was put under for my scope last year, but I'm going to be put under twice for this and then my colonoscopy. And then I was told that once you get surgery for endometriosis, you're going to probably have to get more surgeries in the future, right? But, I'm trying to think positive, and it's really easy to be negative and be in this negative mindset where it's like everything's going to go wrong. So I may as well give up. And I've been there. I was like that today. I called my boyfriend. I said, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed about surgery. What if it does this? What if this happens? And he's like, Adalora, you need to calm. And he's like, you got this. You got this. Just leave it up to God. You know your body better than anyone. Right? And that's true. You guys know your body better than anyone. You know what's good for you, right? And you know what's bad for you. But don't let living be taken from you from anxiety, okay? Also, it is anxiety driven as well. When you're chronically ill, it's mostly anxiety that I find is just like, I don't want to fucking go out and do shit today because I just know that my stomach isn't stable. And what's the point going out? Because I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm just going to be more so thinking about how my stomach is feeling. But it's like, if I didn't go out to Hawaii, I wouldn't have had the great experiences that I deserve to. And just because my body doesn't work the same as many people's who are healthy doesn't mean that I'm less than. And you need to remember that to every single man watching, every woman watching, you are not less than because your body isn't the way that you wish and hope that it could be. We're all born different. Some people have disabilities, some people don't. We're all born different and we just need to be grateful for what we do have. But I will definitely do an update on my surgery. I am nervous about it. I mean, who wouldn't be? Especially as someone who's got so many health problems. It's like, oh gosh, it's just going to create a domino effect to something even worse. But again, I can't think like that, right? But it's really easy to. But yeah, I really hope that this inspired people to not be too scared to go on a trip. I mean, my story isn't a scary one, like, oh, this could go wrong. It's just, I had the right foods with me. I had my heating pad. I had my medications. I had really supportive family members with me. They took it on my pace as well. If I was walking on the beach and I was having some pain with my pelvis, my mom's like, just take your time, babe. Like, there's no need to rush, So it's really nice to just do things on your own pace and have friends and family understand that, which is nice. I am a little bit bummed. There's this event called Comic-Con, and I was really wanting to go to it. I was really excited, but fortunately I have surgery at the time that it's almost done. And but I have a lot of good things planned this year, especially with my partner coming in to visit me for a while and going to things with him. We're going to go to Comic-Con together this year. And I'm going to be traveling to Scotland, meeting his family, and yeah, I'm really, really happy. I feel like I'm in a very good place, better place than I was last year, and I owe it all to Jesus, all to God, and for him supporting me and getting me through everything. I don't know if there's some religious people that watch me where they feel like, why does Jesus do this? Why does Jesus put me through this? And I think that's really easy to think that Jesus is the reason why you're suffering, but he's not the reason you're suffering. We live in a world that's corrupted and unfair and unjust, and sometimes it's just some people get a straw that's a little bit smaller than others. And that's us chronic people who have health issues. And also, the devil always wants to convince you that it's Jesus's fault, right? Because he has to blame someone. But don't blame anyone. This isn't your fault. It's not your fault that you were born this way. It's not your fault that maybe it's not even chronic health that you're dealing with. Maybe you're dealing with family problems. Maybe you're dealing with relationship problems. I don't know. But whatever you're dealing with, it's not your fault. It really isn't your fault. And I don't want you to ever blame yourself for something that's completely out of your control. It's really easy to fall into the temptation of despair. But I thought I was lost. And I'm found. And Jesus said, I sound like a crazy person, but I have such a good connection with God where I hear him speak to me. And Jesus said to me, this is the year of changeling. And actually, I looked up what that meant, and I was confused because changeling dates back to the Scottish times where it talked about these fairies and these babies. It's a whole thing, but I was saying to Jesus, what do you mean changeling? And it has to do with medieval Scottish history? He's like, no, changeling is you were in the old skin and now you're in new skin. It's kind of like a snake getting rid of that. It's evolving. It's redemption. I really didn't think I would get here. I really didn't think that I would be doing more podcast videos because I thought for sure I don't know what my GERD's going to do, and I don't know how I'm going to feel, and I don't know what the trip is going to do, but I'm here for a reason. And I think my reasoning is to help people. And I will not stop until I start helping millions if this does go somewhere. I mean, I'm not Call Your Daddy, that big podcast. I'm not like The Squeeze or anything like that. I know I even have a shitty mic. I know this mic is ass. But I just want to change people's lives, and I want to give people a voice. And I just want to make sure that there's people out there that don't forget that they're beautiful. You are not lost. You're just found. You're going to be found. Maybe not found in the times you're hoping, in the times you want, but it's in the times that are needed. You are not lost because Jesus will always find you in a place where you're found. Because I literally thought last year that my life was restricted to 4 walls, that my life is over, that I'm going to have to watch through a lens of people moving on while I'm stuck. And, the truth is I have a shitty working body that doesn't work the right way, but it still does give me some windows where I am living some life, even though it's not perfect. And Jesus was saying to me in prayer, Adalora, your body is like a ballerina. I would like to go into that a little bit more, if that's all right with you guys. I don't mean to keep preaching, but I would love to tell you this because it really helped me, and maybe it might help one of you. A few weeks ago, I was really overwhelmed. My best friend that passed away, her birthday is this month, and it was hitting me really hard, and I went through something very traumatic a year ago, and I was just going through a lot. And I said, Lord, why is this happening? Why am I so overwhelmed? Why can't I be healthy? Why are things just so much right now? Why can't I just live the life that I see my friends have? And he said to me, Adalora, you are like a ballerina. But this ballerina, her legs are broken and she's not able to dance right now. And he gave me this visual. And he said, that's you right now. A ballerina is someone who's beautiful on stage, who can perform, right? And she's soft on her feet. And she's perfection, right? Ballerinas are just beautiful to watch. And he said, that will be you. But right now, you need to realize you're not able to dance until you get your surgeries done. Until you get this out of the way. Until you get this out of the way. And I understood. And he said, but you will be that ballerina later. You know, you might not be the ballerina that's perfect and healthy like everyone. You're going to definitely have some bruises and cuts on you. And you might not have the pointed toes like everyone else does. You know, and you might have sickled feet. You might not be perfect, but that's okay because you're still going to be able to live. It might not be perfect, but it'll be perfect enough for you. I think that's beautiful for God to say something like that, for the Lord to say something like that to me. And I need to remind everyone that you are a ballerina. And to the men out there, you are a ballerina. There's beautiful dancers out there. And that's okay to not be perfect. Because even the healthiest people out there could still suffer with depression and anxiety, right? Physical health is hard too, though. It's much harder, I find. Because it literally prevents you from doing anything, right? But again, you're not broken. Okay? All right. I love you. I love you very much, everyone. In a few months, I'm going to be guesting some people on the podcast. I'm excited about it. But in the meantime, I really love you. Thank you for listening to this. And I really hope that this helped. I hope it helped some people with anxiety of traveling. I don't expect this to go viral because obviously I'm not a massive podcaster. I mean, look at the mic I'm using. But if it does get some views, please, guys, please comment. I want to hear from you. I want to learn about you. I want you to tell me your stories. Please. If it just helped one person, great. Actually, if you made it to the end of the video, I would like you to comment ballerina. That's kind of cool. Then it tells me you really did watch it. Because you deserve to watch a beautiful video like this. Because there's so many negative videos out there where it's like, so forceful. It's just bad. But I hope this energy helps heal you. But yeah, go do anything you want. Just do it on your terms. And your friends and your family should understand it. If they don't, then they're not really people you should keep in your life. But you deserve a life. You deserve happiness. You are enough. And it's unbelievable how enough you truly are. And I really hope you have a lovely day.